Oh, what's happening, everyone? This is Cheap Money Rowan here. Before we start to showcase the gameplays of the build and everything, I just wanted to at least go over of such build that I will be showing in this video for all the mobbing and bossing. So let's go over the gears now. When it comes to weapon wise, you kind of can mostly want to use, but rationally you can use any gear pieces of weapon gear, but preferably I would prefer if you go for high fire rate weapons, so like Vlad-off weapons. So got a couple examples. Got the wombo combo. I prefer using radiation because reason for I'll explain once we get to the skill portion of the build. This wombo combo gun is actually pretty good. Basically what it does for people, which it shows on the yellow text, but basically every time you fire this thing, it shoots rockets after the bullets. So you can do a lot of like not only gun damage but good splash damage on top of it. So it's actually pretty good. And then I've been using also this the People's Bori purple SMG for quite some time now. It comes with a taser attachment on the barrel, which honestly is pretty nuts. It is a pretty nutty underbill. It's actually really good. I heard about it, but after playing around with this for a while, I'm like, this is definitely a boss melter type of weapon you want to use. You can use it on any mobs really, and honestly, it also acts like a daisy chain effect too when there's nearby enemies near the taser. Not only on the taser, but also on the target if you stick it to him. Also been using the Affinity triple XL. Honestly, this is a really good Vlad-off sniper rifle, especially for this build. Now, the only thing is, though, when you get the build going with the action skill, oh boy, that way of fire is going to get jacked. And honestly, it's pretty tricky to control this gun a little bit when it comes to aiming, but it does a lot. It dishes out a bunch of like DPS and everything. It's really, really good stuff. But yeah, you can practically use any weapon, and you can actually absolutely destroy mobs with this, and bosses too. So again, some examples you could probably get away with using, like maybe using the Rainbow Vomit shotgun, or you can want something like what is it, Anarchist. You can also want that as well, and like, and even if you don't want to run high rate of fire weapons, you could run probably something like like a plasma coil, or use any weapons really. As honestly, I feel like this build kind of helps to you can use any weapons, but I do say it's better with high rate of fire weapons. So definitely again, you want to go with something like Vlad-off. Any good Vlad-off guns you can get your hands on, like an underbill, like zip rocket, which it's actually not too bad to play around with. You can even I'm still experimenting with the flamethrower, see if it's any good. Yeah, any Vlad-off assault rifles, SMGs, which I got the Buds beads, which I use the taser attachment for, because again, sometimes I'll want two of the taser SMGs to try to quickly melt the boss as fast as possible, if it can. But yeah, you can pretty much get away running like any type of weapons you will like to try to see if it suits your playstyle. Again, I kind of like high fire rate weapons, but you will see in the video I will kind of try a different variety of different guns throughout the drill site enemy clearing and all. And as for whip kits, any whip kit really will do, but if you can get the ones that have let's say accelerator and amp, mostly amp is a good one. Like it gives you it gives you like 200% damage on your next shot. And if you get accelerator, that's a bonus. I say that's a good one, especially if this helps you to recover your action skill cooldown rate a little bit quicker. And then weapon. Now when it comes to like heavy weapons or grenade ordnance, you can practically use anything. Personally, I've been using this one for quite some time. Basically has explosive rounds on it, so it basically allows it to do more damage. Which honestly, when you use your action skill with this, oh boy, you can melt things pretty quick with this. Now you you pretty much burn for ammo for this pretty quick, and you'd be going back down to cooldown. But if you happen to be lucky to have this broken knife that everybody's been using, I don't use this knife very often on my Holloway build, but you can use this if you want to. Personally, I don't really use the knife that often. I kind of experiment to see if it actually makes a difference on the DPS, and honestly, this is just kind of severe overkill. You really don't need this. Because, and plus, again, the developers are going to probably take a look at this anyway in the future anyway, because this has been the talk about item in the game. But you could practically run maybe another, like, highway of fire, like, heavy ordnance light-off guns, or if you want, you can run Molly one, whichever, you know, will work. As long as you can get some certain firmwares to, you know, to help. So for, which I'll go over the firmware choices in a moment. And then for class mod, now, I feel like with this class mod, with these particular perks, especially the blue one, which I will go over in a moment. I like this one because I like the extra SMG gun damage with it, so it's really good. And then, honestly, this shield, the Firewhack shield, is actually one of my favorite shields in the game. Well, it's an armor shield, but it's one of my favorite ones in the game. So basically, on kills, it has this special effect where it basically spawns missiles that homes in on nearby targets, and it deals a pretty good chunk of damage. And if you happen to get really lucky, you can get the missile swarm variant, because every time an armor segment breaks, it launches 3 missiles, dealing each dealing this certain amount of damage, which is actually not too bad, because again, it also procs. It also keeps your action skill duration up longer. So if you happen not to get if you happen to be dealing with people in front of you, but you have enemies behind you, you get a kill. Hey, missile is gonna spawn out of that dead enemy you just killed, and it will go for the next target that could be behind you or any nearby enemies. So honestly, really good. And now for enhancements, you could kind of get away wanting any enhancements, but preferably if you could get ones like for this one, for example, since I'm using Vladoff. If you can get the underdog perk, that basically allows you to underbarrels to do 50% more damage. Now for the free random perks, ideally you probably want to get something like probably like gun damage if you wanted to. But for me though, I actually been doing pretty good with this build, with this enhancement setup here, because it has reload speed increase, 50% mag increase, and also really does actually make a difference when you're on the fly switching weapons back and forward. Is also gun equip speed, so definitely pretty much helps. Now as for the firmware, I am running Deadeye. Honestly, Deadeye is actually a pretty powerful firmware in the game, I feel. Especially this helps basically increases your gun critical damage. And especially if you can also stack the critical damage per stack up to 5, so that's actually pretty good. And then I'm wanting the high impact for this one because I basically want to only get to basically the gun damage. The projectile speed's not too shabby, but mainly I just wanted to get it for the gun damage so I could basically boost my DPS even further. Now, again, like I said, you can pretty much rock any guns really, but preferably you want to go for ones that can give you a pretty decent fire rate to work with. Especially you'll see why when I'm about to show what you're about to see in the rest of the gameplay. But I'll go over the skills. Now for the skill tree, we'll go over the green one first. This is the bread and butter of the build. So this is called the Halo build because we're focusing with basically with group studies and what you want to probably invest in, into momentum. Whenever Holloway entangles an enemy, she and her ally gain increased critical hit damage, which I need to make a quick mention of. This build's actually pretty good in solo, but if you're playing with a group of friends, oh boy, this build is nuts. Not only you're providing yourself some buffs, but you're giving your teammates buff. And that's, again, why this is actually one of her best capstones for her flux generator action skill. But anyway, let me explain for the rest of the build. So, and then I'm also running with mass friction, which basically gives increased reload speed for every enemy entangled for her and her allies. Pretty good. And then you want to go for absolute zero, max this out, because whenever Holloway freezes an enemy, which, by the way, every time you activate the flux generator, you always will be doing cryo damage all times. So you're always going to have a higher chance to freeze the enemies. So whenever she freezes the enemy, she gains a stack of 0 points. For every stack of 0 points, her action skill duration freezes for a short time, which is 4 seconds. Which this actually helps. This is part 1 of it that helps you keep your action skill up. Now, and then there's this one, the class mod, which I invested in 2 points in this one, but from the class mod, this basically helps to restore portions of the action skill cooldown if whenever I shoot an entangled enemy. So this works for her and the allies. Then I'm going for Reflection, which basically gives her and her allies gain ricochet chances against entangled enemies. Critical hits double this chance. Ricochet has reduced damage, which honestly, it doesn't really matter because you're doing so much damage that the ricochet is actually a nice bonus. Then put some investment into only 1 point into this because I can basically get down to here a little bit quicker. So you only have limited amount of points in this game at this time until they increase the level cap. But yeah, until the future, definitely want to probably max this out possibly for sure. But then I go for distribution function. Oh, I should probably explain what this is. So basically, this gives her increased critical hit damage, and whenever an enemy is damaged by Holloway's action skill, the next shot of that enemy will be automatically critical hit. Now we can run on this one. Whenever Holloway's action skill damages the enemy, restores a portion of her and her allies' shield capacity if the shield so full gains overshield instead. So gives a survivability. Now let me get to the augment real quick before we get to the capstone. Nuclear Winter. This one basically what it does is whenever Holloway and her allies are inside the flux generator's radius, they deal bonus cryo damage, which this will help to proc Absolute Zero more often for you whenever you activate the action skill. Anyway, basically whenever Holloway and her allies leave the flux generator radius, they instead deal bonus radiation damage for a duration. And whenever Holloway inflicts cryo or radiation status effect, whatever cryo or radiation status effect, that enemy becomes entangled. So again, this helps to proc other skills that involve entangled enemies. So pretty good there. Now for the capstone, the one that basically makes this build go around pretty significantly. So group study capstone, what this does, so it spawns. So usually for this action skill, for the flux generator, usually it's like a portable generator that you throw down and leave it in one spot. But with this basically allows you to spawn a Halo sidekick for each ally instead of her flux generator. And these basically behave just like the flux generator, but it'll be on the move with your Vault Hunter as you're moving around the map. And when it's near them, near Holloway and her allies, they gain increased gun damage, fire rate, and reload speed. And then here's the thing about this really gets a little bit nutty and makes this skill very powerful, is that you can re-trigger the action skill by pressing the corresponding button and causing it to overload, which basically just increases the stacks of the effect. So let's just say for gun damage and all this, if you do this 4 times, you get up to like 100% gun damage. And again, this has no cap. So you can keep this going. Now, the only caveat to this, though, the more stacks you have, her action skill duration drains much more quicker. Which, no big deal, because again, as long as you can keep enemies frozen constantly, you can keep your action skill for a long time. Now, I'm going to go over in the blue tree, and the class mod I have on has this one particular skill that actually makes this even more better. But again, if you don't have this class mod, that is perfectly fine. You can still keep your action skill duration up for quite some time still. I tested it before and after equipping the class mod before, and honestly, you can still whack people without this class mod I have on. But let me go over to the boot tree. So you want to basically go into parallel circuits, which after triggering or re-triggering an action skill, Holloway gains increased gun damage, so she gets even more gun damage when you keep re-triggering the action skill. Then, same thing for Bright Future, same similar, concept. Basically, whenever she triggers her action skill, gets increased rate of fire, which is pretty good. Again, you basically just milk people like crazy, and then go for periodic table flip, which basically gives her increased elemental damage, status effect operation chance, and cryo efficiency. Very good again to help us out with cryo. Next, I went for unstable isotopia, if I said that right. Whenever she gets killed, she deals even more bonus cryo damage with all sources. So it doesn't matter what it's from. It's either from her shield, for the shield, grenades, heavy ordnance, you name it. Doesn't matter what it is. Next, I only put in 1 point in this because, again, limited on the amount of skill points you only have for the time being until in the future they increase the level cap. So, but this 1 point is actually enough. This will give you a pretty good amount of life steal, and also it gives you overshield if your shield is already full. So, but if her health is full, then she gains overshield instead. That's what it says. So, yeah. And then last I went for flash freeze. So whenever she deals cryo damage with an action skill, she gains a chance to freeze that enemy. So her Flex Generator does actually damage the enemies if they're caught in the range of her. So again, it's also not too bad to get up close and personal with the enemies if you want to trigger some of these skills. Now, the class mode I have on basically gives me 3 points into sustain reaction. So this is actually really good. Like, honestly, it makes this build even more nuttier. The fact that I even have this class mod that has these 3 skill points I put in here. But what this does, whenever she gets a kill, killing an entangled enemy restores a portion of Holloway's action skill duration. So not only I'm gonna get my action skill duration back up, but combining with absolute 0 on top of it, so I can keep stacking this for quite a long time. As long as there's a lot of enemies around, I can keep stacking, and it gets nutty. So yeah, again, if you don't have a class mod that has 3 points in this, no problem. You're still gonna be able to wreck people, even if you don't have any extra points go into this. Until in the future they increase the level cap, then I will probably say definitely invest into this skill, because this definitely makes the build much more stronger, I feel. And then specializations, I'm still kind of working them out. Me and my buddies just beat the game about last week, or a few days ago, I should say. And basically, I'm still kind of leveling up, but I figured out the ideal skill, passive skills you definitely will want to increase damage-wise. You definitely want one shot, one kill. That's for sure. Basically, what this does is excessive damage will be stored and be added to your next gunshot, which this is a kill skill, by the way. So, yeah, you would be doing much more damage. And then I went for literally this. So whenever whenever Vault Hunter deals gun damage, increase the stack of this, increasing gun damage. So I could basically do much more damage, which this stacks up to 50 stacks, which each one is 1% each. So pretty good one. But otherwise, I can't really say what's the last of the 2 you can invest in. Whichever the ones that you will like, if it helps. So yeah. So that's pretty much my my Halo Harlowe build. Which honestly, I had a lot of fun with this build. Honestly, like out of all the action skills, this one is definitely my favorite one. The second favorite one is the Chrome Accelerator build that I did one previously, before I decided to respec into this. So I might do a build for the Chrome Accelerator setup once I kind of get a little bit more familiar with that skill a little bit more. Definitely, and see if I can find some pretty good interactions with. So, well, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the gameplay footages. This has been G Money Rowan here. Until then, everyone, farewell.
this way just to die? Subject must be terminated. And hide. Response.
Something for everyone! This may sting!
Grovel before me!
Gunpowder's gonna be running! Putting you in a deep freeze! Growl!
Bombard them!
I could
This
take.
calls for disorderly
No.
conduct!
You will perish. When you're dead,
Oh,
I'll actually
Ant-Bite.
miss them.